the great thing about the internet is made everything global. So it's no such thing as a local artist anymore because everything is basically global and nationally led now. So your Facebook or your Instagram or your TikTok is not just dictated on South Carolina. It's shown to everyone.
I'm Lucy, the Outreach Coordinator at Chapman Cultural Center, and we are here today in the lovely Mayfair Art Studios in one of our tenants' very spacious studios. This is Smitha Lee.
Hey, hey.
Hi, Smitha. So we wanted to talk to you today and kind of just hear your story as a creative, to entrepreneur, to however you describe yourself now, kind of your journey, where you started and how you got here.
All right, so I'm from Spartanburg, South Carolina. I've lived here all my life. Started, so far as my career here, I went to high school here, went to college here, and a lot of my connections kind of stamped from being here and extending from there. I went to Spartanburg High School. Awesome. So I went to Spartan High. I use those interchangeably because it's Spartanburg High School, but majority of people call it Spartan High. So that's the school that I attended, and so far as for collegiate, I went to USC Upstate.
Okay, great.
So great thing. I started when I was even growing up, I always was interested in like films itself. My dad had me into like a lot of the old Bruce Lee films and a lot of scary films, different things like that. We just like on every weekend that we would watch different films and different things like that. So I was really drawn to just the film industry itself. I even played with action figures up until like 8th, 9th grade. Yeah. Because I'm mostly like building my own stories, different things like that, creating different atmospheres and different things like that, because that's how I could creatively get my outlet. So I was film first, and when I turned 18, my mom got me it was like a Kodak camera. And I started then, doing a lot of like micro little films on MySpace, which a lot of people probably haven't heard of.
Tell the children what
MySpace is. So MySpace was where the cool kids were before Facebook became Instagram. And it just, spread. And the great thing about it, I've been able to jump on every single train at the right time. So a lot of people look at my social media, it's like, man, it's so large, but I've also I was on Facebook when only college kids were allowed to be on Facebook. And actually my personal Facebook account is actually a business account that I had, because there was one point in time where you can convert your pages over. Okay. So my personal account is technically my second account. My business account is actually my first account that got converted to a business account.
Wow, yeah.
So I was in that time where you could do that. Now you can't do that. Yeah. So a lot of my stuff is kind of sprung from just being in the right place at the right time and really taking action of the different tools that we have. I know a lot of times creatives don't want to use social media, but I say it's really important because features that you have that can launch your business aren't always going to be there. Yeah. So that's how I was really able to get my Facebook audience going. My Instagram, same exact thing. Got on Instagram when it first started, launched for there. My YouTube probably would be maybe 40, 90 subscribers now if I would have stayed consistent. That's one of the platforms that I was on early. Didn't take it serious. I think we're only at like 2,500 or something like that. Yeah. Because I didn't take it serious until like now I'm starting to actually post and utilize different things. But if I would have stayed consistent on it and looking at all my other social media, it would have been like 40, 90, like easily. But just not taking advantage of the tools that I had at that moment. That's when I started doing photography a little bit more in my collegiate stage. And that just grew where I started doing events. Some of my local church members wanted like, hey, notice you're doing that. I want to learn. Want to be a part of it. And I'm like, cool. So literally 3 of the first 3 people, and one of them is still with me. Her name's Africana. Been with me for like 12 years. Wow. Literally started just from that, saying, hey, I'm young. She was like 12, 13 at the moment. I just want to learn. I'm like, cool, yeah. You come apart, have your mom drop you off when we're doing stuff, and yeah, you can learn. And literally from then, every portion of part of my staff, and she's actually introduced 2 of the people on my staff that have become full-time members as well. Wow. So everyone's either has entered as a request from one of my staff members, or someone that's really just hit me up and like, hey, I'm interested. And I look at their work, I'm like, okay, I can see that I can work with this, and at this moment I have this type of hole, or this person went off, like Jeremiah Drummond, he was with me for a while. Yeah. Jeremiah, he's doing his own thing, and I have a lot of students that they grow up, they do their own thing, and they go off. So when I have those holes, and they'll let me know, it's like, hey, I'm starting to branch off. It's cool. Yeah. All right, let's get you what we need to do.
Yeah. So if I can ask you, so y'all collaborated like on projects, and they were part of your staff through collaboration, not necessarily full or part-time employees.
Not full or part-time. Yeah, just by not full-time.
Sort of organic.
Still organic and everything.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I'm still paying at the same.
Right.
Because me as a creative, and this is different from some people. You work for exposure thing. I get. Every single person on my staff can tell you I pay them, no matter if it's the smallest thing. I've always found the money to pay, and I think that's one thing within my business is help scale and elevate my business, because the income that I get, I'm not afraid to hold on to it. Like, oh, this can be the next thing, last thing that I have. I freely give, so I can freely receive because my hand is always open.
Right.
And I think that's one thing that as creatives, oftentimes we get to a place where we see the numbers and we start doing like this. And if you start doing like this and your hands are closed, so you don't have the time to actually receive anything.
Yeah.
So it's a constant flow within my business because I'm constantly giving out. Like this past weekend, I took them all out. We went to the beach for 2 days. So it's just a constant flow.
That's awesome. So you started with your group at your church, kind of sort of started volunteers now. Now, how large is your staff? How large is your team? So
at this time, it's around 4.
Okay.
Then once I started strongly doing weddings, that's when the scale went up drastically. From the 4 that was there and the 3 that went off, and the one came in and another came in, then one of those went off and another one came in. And so far it's like holding on. I don't hold on to people. Like if it's your time, it's totally fine. Like I'm not upset when it's time. It's good. It's more so like I look at people like a tree, for instance. Like some people are going to be roots. Like one of my roots would be Africana. That's a root. Some people are going to be leaves. They're going to be there for a season. They stuff may change. They may fall off. They may actually end up planting their own tree. And some people are more so like branches. They're there. I can't really like lean on them that much because they're still growing as a branch, but they're there as support for the actual tree. And me knowing where everyone is as oftentimes has helped me a lot.
So all y'all are growing together business-wise.
Majority of my people, I've had a lot of them since they were young. The only person that I would say that has been older that was a part of the team is CL, because it was at one point in time where we started to branch off and do a lot of other different events and weddings. I needed a strong guy to because none of my people were in like really strong leadership position at that moment. They're like all still not teenager, but college kids and different things. So I needed a really strong male to kind of lead on some of these events, and I brought him in. And now he's working, like he's doing his own thing. He's working with the federal government and everything. But it allowed them to see another individual, like, hey, I know Lee, like he's done all this, like Smith has always done it this way. But seeing someone else do the exact same thing, okay, that helps. So it's solidified now. I have actual strong leaders within the group that can just lead on themselves.
Very cool, awesome. So how much time from sort of your business Facebook page to now? How many years was that? What do you think?
So it's been. So I count from when I was 18. I don't count the years before that because it's more so I was like everyday tasks. Like my first paid things, I started when I first got paid. So that's when I was 18. Anything before that, I don't really count. It was just more learning, but I could count those years and everything like that. But really, when I was 18, so around like 16 years.
Wow. Okay. What would you say to the creatives that haven't quite broken into their like entrepreneurship yet? They haven't quite started that business yet. They have these skills and they have these passions and they have these dreams. What advice would you give to them to kind of break into that now I'm doing the thing. Now this is my business. Now this is my full-time thing. Mm-hmm. If you could give like 3 pieces of advice?
So I would say the first thing would be consistency in placing out your artwork even when people are not watching. Oftentimes, because we only get 1 like, 2 likes, 3 likes, 4 likes, 0 likes, 1 like in the algorithm, sometimes it's just always changing. Like today, like my wife called me and was like, "Hey, did the algorithm switch again?" I said, "Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out." But I said, "Babe, just keep posting." Like she posted something, it's like no engagement. I was like, "Yeah, I've had posts like it's just weird right now." I think as creatives, sometimes we get caught in that no one's seeing my work, and that makes me not want to create. But if you have a passion, you should be creating just on the sake of creating. And that consistency of you putting work out is going to work. Like one of my good friends that was here, Mad Artist.
Yes.
Rod was really an advocate about, being paid for his work. And literally, like, he started from just putting out artwork. He would do art pieces twice a day, once a day. Like, he kept doing it, kept putting out new pieces. And the more he did it, the more people were like, okay, I keep seeing this guy, I keep seeing the work. And from that standpoint, it's easier then to kind of create that value. Then you're in galleries, then you're being paid, and people are buying your work and different things like that. But it all stems from that weight of being consistent. And I think a lot of people get burnt out from the lack of engagement that's not happening there. So I would say the biggest thing would be consistency. The next big thing would be finding the audience that actually admires that work. What type of audience are you with? A lot of times people want to lean on like what's happening here in Spartanburg, but what is the art gallery portion or the artistry happening in Charlotte, traveling, Atlanta, different places like that. Get it in a different atmospheres, because I hate to say it, once people start seeing you otherwhere, sometimes you are received better in your hometown.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but that happened. I mean, and there was a standpoint where I started doing it, and people were like, oh, well, Lee's here, Lee's there, yes.
Yeah.
So oftentimes finding different communities where you can just be yourself that may be outside of the community that you want to actually pour into is totally fine. This may not be the season that you're pouring into your community. You may need to pour and create somewhere else, create a community there, create another community somewhere else, then come back and pour in. But also at the same time, still pouring out, still posting, still doing things like that, so people in your local area can still see that.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that we don't do enough, and we get stuck on just trying to create in our own community, where we should try our best to kind of create, because the great thing about the internet is made everything global. So There's no such thing as a local artist anymore, because everything is basically global and nationally led now. So your Facebook or your Instagram or your TikTok is not just dictated on South Carolina, it's shown to everyone. So the more consistent you are, and that one opens up 2. And I would say that last thing is not being afraid to get paid for your work. I think that portion is what you see as your value is what other people are going to see. And oftentimes people feel that, well, no one's buying this in this area. Cool. Somebody in the area is going to purchase it.
Else will.
Or someone else in another city is going to purchase it. You just got to find that audience. So, are you working within your SEO? How's your web presence? How's your website? How easy is it to purchase from you? Sometimes artists make things a little bit too complicated when it comes to purchasing from you.
Yep.
Nowadays, it should be easy. For instance, like, people are used to going to Amazon and just purchasing what they want to do. How well is your website set up to purchase and to book a session? That all those things line up, because if it's too complicated, you got to think, like, people are used to 1-2 clicks away. If it's too complicated, they're automatically going to give up, because it's just not used to. It's not the day-to-day thing. Even though it's artistic, it's something in the artistic realm. That's cool, but it still has to fall in the parameters of everything else that they're naturally doing within their life. So how easy is it to purchase from you, and just name your worth? So that makes that number 3 a lot easier.
Awesome. I think that's great advice. Thank you for talking with us today. We love to celebrate artists at every stage in their career, including the very, very successful ones. We love to celebrate you. So thanks for taking some time and sharing some advice with us.
It's no problem.
Yeah.
No problem at all.